What's up, everyone? This is Nora Cat bringing you another Duel Masters deck tech. I haven't done one of these in a while, but today I want to go over my favorite deck, and this is the one that I'll be bringing to a tournament that is going to be happening in September. Now, I actually won the last tournament that they held. This is like a Danish kind of like casual tournament. I guess you can call it casual. There was a prize pool, but in general, it wasn't like sanctioned, and there wasn't like any money involved or anything like that. But it was a kind of a high stakes. Some of the people playing had some really strong decks in there, and had a great time. I was able to win the whole thing with a worse deck that I'm about to show you is basically like a worse version of this one. Since then, I've kind of upgraded it. Since that, and I'll be taking this to the tournament in September, I believe. Depending on what happens. Um, so I want to show you the cards and the whole deck list. So this is like a liquid people kind of beatdown deck, which is something I always wanted to build, like kind of a tempo deck. It is a light water deck and plays a lot of liquid people, so let's get right into it. So, like I said, this is a better version of the one that I played. Um, so yeah, hopefully I'll get to win next tournament as well, but we'll see. So, first off, we have the 4 Aqua Guard. 4 Aqua Guard, there we go. Mixed up there for a second. There he is, 4 Aqua Guard. This is the main turn 1 play. You can play this and you can hold off your opponent with some blocks, but it's also liquid people, so you can turn to Crystal Spin Slicer on top of this guy, which can be very, very frustrating for some decks to deal with, especially if you don't have like any removal that in the game, or if they aren't able to like hit a shield trigger. Um, and sometimes you can play this guy late game with a Crystal Spin Slicer on top of him, and he becomes like kind of like your a budget or like a water version of Pyrofighter Magnus, which might be something that you could use to win the duel. So quite a good card. Let's put him over here. Next up, we have 4 Emeralds. We are running a lot of shield triggers. This guy isn't a liquid people, however, he is very, very good at setting up some annoying things for rush decks to deal with, as well as some more aggressive decks that are trying to break your shields and kill you fast. He can put the surfers in the shields, he can put holders in the shields, spiral gates, all kinds of things. So he's very annoying, and he does give you some card selection and some understanding and info about your deck, but because he gives you, one of the cards back from your shields. I wish this guy was a liquid people, but he isn't, which is the only thing that's kind of bad about him. Because we have a lot of Cyberlord support in this deck, but other than that, he is a very, very good card, and I would recommend playing him. Maybe we do not B4, but right now we're playing 4, which is also quite good. Next up, we have 3 Crystal Spin Slicers. We don't run a playset, and the reason why we don't want a playset is because drawing this guy late game can be kind of annoying because you can't play him, and it can also be annoying because, well, he if he dies, you kind of lose 2 cards for it, and you need a bait out there. You need like some focuses or something or servers to like actually be able to evolve. So he's not quite as good as you would think he is. I think a lot of people running 4 is kind of a bad idea. I think you should run 3 max, maybe 2. I think 3 is a good number for this deck. Um, but something like, for example, Bug Whip is kind of the same, where you don't want to run too many of them. But yeah, that's Spin Slicer. Just a 2 mana 5/5k blocker that can also attack, and it evolves in liquid people. So it's a very big body. You can use it to fend off your opponents, and you can use it also to defend yourself, but also just like attack every turn. So, and kind of like a speed attack as well, because you can attack right away. Um, then we have playset Spiral Gate. I chose this art because I liked it with the combination of the light civilization. It looks very much more like a light spell, like the art, than an actual like water spell. But it's just 2 mana, shield trigger, and you can just return one of your creatures to its owner's hand. You return your own creatures. Sometimes you can turn your servers. I think you do that. Maybe on Hoguses, draw more cards, stuff like that. So it can be very useful. But generally, this is here to defend against some of the more aggressive decks. Spiral Gate just does it up very, very efficiently, very cheaply, very early in the game, and very, very tempo-y. So I really like this card in the deck, and it really does help quite a bit. Moving into our free drops, of course, we gotta run the 4 Aqua Hoguses again. Aqua Hogus is so important for this deck because it does so many things. First off, it's a body on the battlefield. It also replaces those and draws cards, so it's good against like the discard decks. It's good against Rush because you can kill most of the early threats or trade most of the early threats to kind of keep you alive. And it also is a liquid people, so you can evolve onto it. You can buff it with other things. It's very good. So honestly, just run alcohol with no decks if you have it. I only have a playset at the moment, so this is all I have. This is my only playset alcohol, and of course it's going in my favorite deck. Then we have free Tachimol, Vizier of Aqua. 3 mana 4K blocker, liquid people initiate. It can also both block and attack. It can only attack creatures, but it can block a lot of things since it's quite big. And it becomes even bigger if it's fights a fire creature. It gets plus 4,000 power, and it becomes just an absolute annoyance. And obviously you can evolve onto it, and there's some other things that buff it as well. So we'll get into that. So this card is really good. It also fills out the light in this deck. This deck is kind of like splashing light, which I didn't mention. So there's not a lot of light cards, but you just really need one in your mana zone. Throw down a Holy Awe down there on one of these guys, and you can just play whatever you want later in the game. So it does splash a lot of light. Then we have the free Energy Streams, and obviously Energy Stream. Um, I think this is the best card for the deck. Lucky Ball could be okay here, but I don't think Lucky Ball is quite good in this deck because you don't really want to break shields as much. Not all the time, so the consistent card draw is better than the body, I think, and the aggressiveness. So I think this is the one you want to play instead of Lucky Ball. Although Lucky Ball would be a lot better if this was more like an aggro deck. This is more like a tempo deck, so it doesn't always want to break the shields, but sometimes it does, and Lucky Ball could be better. But Endstream is more consistently good. It's always go-to cards. They don't have to have less shields than you or free shields or anything like that. You just draw 2 cards for 3 mana. So very strong. So yeah, obviously Lucky Ball gives you a body as well, but that's not really what the deck is trying to do all the time. So then we have the 2 of um, Crystal Paladins. Maybe it's hard to see on this camera, but this one is actually fake. I need to get myself an actual Crystal Paladin, one more. But this one is real over here. It's German though, but it is a real one. Um, this card is crazy. Obviously, it's very good. You have to be careful. You have a few blockers, Aqua Guards, Tarjamos, and Spin Slicer. But other than that, you can always evolve on top of those guys, and if you bounce them, it's not that bad because usually if you play this guy, you usually, especially if your opponent is playing blockers, so you want to get through that wall. And if they're not playing blockers, then you just put this guy in your mana zone, and he just like fills out the deck. So very good. Now, I think 2 is a good number. I don't think I want to go up to 3. I think 2 is the right amount here. So that's good. Then we run into the real boss monster of the deck. We have 3 Petrovas. Obviously, these are all Japanese, so I'll try to tell what he does. But Petrova Channel of Suns, 5 mana, um, 3,500, 3,500k Mecha del Sol creature. It's the creature type Mecha del Sol, and what it does is when it enters, you choose a creature type, or race rather. You can choose his own race, you can choose Mecha del Sol. Um, then it gives all creatures of that race plus 4,000 power flat. So also your opponents. So let's say, for example, you say Cyberlord to buff the Emeralds, for example, as an example. And your opponent has like a Korra in play or something. The Korra will also be buffed, so you have to be kind of careful with it. In this deck, you always say liquid people most of the time. There are some situations where you can say initiate because you have some initiates in here like Tajimol and some other cards, one other card, so you can actually like kind of buff those guys, and then just if they play like a Surfer or something, then the opponent doesn't actually get the buff from it. So that can be kind of useful. Um, so that can be something you can do if you want, but generally, this card is just here to buff all your creatures. But most importantly, very important, very like common removal card in our meta is Searing Wave. And if your opponent cannot play Searing Wave, then they cannot actually kill this guy or any of your creatures because they get too big. So um, not a lot of people run ants to this guy in the meta, and this guy is just a really big problem for a lot of decks. So he is in the deck because of that reason. Very strong card, and I'm just this is really strong here. 3 is the right number. I don't have an English one, but I do have 3 Japanese ones, so those are going in the deck right there. The next card we have is the Stoll, Vizier of Aqua. I've actually been very surprised about how good this card is. Not necessarily a Corel, and I would rather play this guy because he's both initiate and he's liquid people. Basically, when he comes in, you put the top guy deck in your shields, and then you get to look at one of your opponent's shields to see information, basically. Now, this one doesn't seem that good, but because you have, Petrova, for example, he becomes like a 6,000 creature. You can evolve onto him with Spin Slicer because he's liquid people, stuff like that. So he's a lot better than you think he is, and obviously he's no Sky Sword, but he is pretty close to Sky Sword in the cards we have because he does give you a shield, but no ramps. So still a very strong card, and I actually have been pleasantly surprised about how good this guy is and how much it actually helps the deck. Because otherwise I would put like Carillion, but I think this guy's way better for this deck. Then we have uh, four Aqua Surfers. I have two of these Japanese ones, and then I have two of these like normal ones. I think I want four Japanese ones in this art. I think this art is really cool. But currently we're just running the two normal ones as well. I was actually able to get two playsets of Aqua Surfers, which I was very happy with. So I have my other playset in my Twin Cannon Sky Tower deck, my Turbo Twin Cannon deck, which I will be showing a deck list of, a deck take off very soon. Um, the next deck I'm working on currently is Marino Control or Marino Mancer Control, whatever you want to call it, which is Light Water Darkness deck. But yeah, this guy is really cool. He is a really good shield trigger. You can put in shields to Emerald. He's liquid people, so you can roll onto him. He gets buffed by Patrol that, and he's just a nuisance for any rush deck. He's a shield trigger. 6 mana 2k shield trigger has the same effect as Spiral Gate. So you get a body and you get bounce. And then the final card in the deck we have 4 Holy Ores. Because Holy Ore is that kind of card that you just want to be playing for. I have the Kellogg's promo cards here, which I enjoy very much. So it's just 6 mana, tap all your opponent's creatures, and they have shield trigger, of course. So you can put in shields, and then you just tap all your opponent's creatures. So yeah, Holy Ore, very strong card. I'll put the deck up here in a second so you can see it all in all its glory. And here it is, the entire deck, complete 40 card deck. And I've actually been very lucky with some of these cards that I have, and thanks to one of my friends, I was able to get some of them. Obviously, there are some changes I want to make. Obviously, I need to get a real Crystal Paladin. This I was actually allowed to play this one. I told him that it was a fake, and if I was allowed to play with him last time, but I was, alas. So very happy with that. And then I'm thinking about putting some Aqua Vehicle in here because again, you have some Spin Slice and some other things, so it might be useful to have some more cheap creatures to evolve onto. Maybe I'll take out an Emerald and maybe like an Industream or Tachimol or something to make place for 2 Aqua Vehicles. But again, it's not a big of a deal, but it is something to kind of think about. Anyway, that's been my Liquid People deck, Light Water Liquid People, and Tempo deck. So thank you guys so much for watching, and let me know what you guys think about the deck down below in the comment section.